just when you watch or you hear about the executive orders, they're usually in tenor and tone, at least as perceived by the public, negative in their nature. So when you hear about Biden's Green New Deal and what that would do to the economy, I mean, if he actually were able, that's what when you said, thank God they controlled the Senate, I went, thank God, because that's the first piece of legislation that came to mind. You've got basically, somebody who's trying to utterly destroy everything that makes the economy work by cutting off fossil fuels, by insisting on green energy, just running roughshod over what makes an economy work. And if that happens, both countries are in a world of hurt. Well, now, how you survive that, I don't know. But
well, look, I think this is the most outrageous set of proposals that have been advanced politically by any party in the United States in my lifetime. Is what is being called the Green New Deal, and of course they're calling it the Green New Deal because it's supposed to be revolutionary and progressive and healing, like a great leap forward, if you will, analogous to the New Deal that Franklin Roosevelt brought in, what he called his New Deal back in the 1930s, which saw an incredible expansion of the state, the creation of whole new departments and whole new programs that were arguably, and still are arguably, unconstitutional. But, that's a topic for a separate program with constitutional experts from the United States to talk about. But this green plan of Biden is dreaming in Technicolor. Look, if I wanted to call myself something, I guess I could call myself an environmentalist. I like clean air, clean water, clean land. I don't think we should be polluting the world.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think we should be impoverishing people in pursuit of a pipe dream. Now, look, I don't have a problem with electric cars. I don't have a problem with not being on fossil fuel. I don't care. It's the problem is not in the choice between fossil fuels or so-called renewables. The problem is that the renewables are being sold under false pretenses, for starters, okay? The renewables are not so renewable, and they don't perform with the kind of effectiveness and efficiency at this stage as oil does. Now, so we have an oil economy, an oil-based economy. Could that change at some point in time? I hope so. I don't think it's particularly.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's particularly wise to be polluting the atmosphere. I think I don't want to exaggerate. Okay, I don't think we're on the verge of the world ending, as some people like to pretend. But so sure, let's get off fossil fuels. But you can't just do this legislatively. You can't just force it. It's something that's got to happen naturally, like what happened with the evolution of the car. And the car. You and I are ex-Navy people, so let's even talk about the Navy, okay, which went from sail to coal. Well, at some point in time, coal, which is pretty ubiquitous, it still is, it's quite readily available, but it wasn't very efficient and dirty as heck. So along comes, bunker oil, bunker C oil, right?
Yep.
Now, you've worked with bunker oil. It's awful to work with. But it's still a step up from coal.
Right. Actually, we worked with furnace fuel oil, which is a step up from bunker C.
Okay, so
but I do know a lot of guys who did sail with it.
Okay, so
and it was, you're right, it was
messy.
It was not a clean burning fuel, hard.
Sure. So you could see a progression. You can see an evolution. And if somebody out there can come up with, be inventive and come up with with some really great electrical engines, some ways of storing power, making the thing cars perform, and making them reasonably priced so that the government doesn't have to take taxpayers' money to subsidize rich people driving expensive electric cars, okay, to convince them to buy electric cars. So let it happen naturally, and I think I'm all for it. But this idea that we're going to spend X trillions of dollars over the next...
Well, I think they've already...
Go ahead. Uh-oh.
Oh, I was just going to say, from a nautical point of view, they've already done that. It's called nuclear.
Well, exactly.
If you equip a ship with a nuclear power plant, you can make them.
Yeah, you're 100%.
From a naval point of view, these things are amazing platforms. They go for 13 years. And you can make a nuke any size you want. Like, theoretically, at least, you could put nukes in cars. Now, do I think that's a good idea? Nah, there may be some downfalls to that.
Yeah.
It would make it for great fuel economy, but you don't want to get into a wreck because now you've got a whole new set of problems. So I understand every technology has its limits. But the thing that bothers me about what Biden wants to do is there's a certain segment of the population who has an appetite for these pipe dreams.
Well,
and
this is
it's not a small segment. And what did Lincoln say? Without public opinion, I can't do anything. With public opinion, with public opinion, I can do anything. Without it, I can't do anything. So if there's enough public opinion out there supporting what he wants to do, now you enter a different set of circumstances because those people then call their senators and their congressmen and say, we want you to support this. Now, most of them won't, but maybe enough of them will. And this is the kind of politicking that goes on. And you're talking about some pretty dangerous, not technologies, but programs, economically at least, like the bill on this thing is $93 trillion. I don't know if there's that much money on the planet.
I don't know how you...
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't know how you retrofit 4 million buildings. Like, you're going to pass a law forcing 4 million buildings to stop using oil or natural gas to heat.
Well, look, this is what I mean. But the fact they would even try is what bothers me, because if that doesn't work, what else has he got coming down the pike?
Well, this is it. That's just
what bothers me.
There's too much unreality about what the Biden team have been proposing, and what a large segment of the population on the left in the United States, the progressives in the United States, a lot of them are going to be expecting this kind of stuff. And, ultimately, I don't think that Joe Biden is the guy to fight for it. And so, I think we're going to be, I think as much as people don't like Donald Trump again, I think that under Joe Biden, if Biden ultimately captures the presidency, I think that there's going to be a significant amount of unrest under Biden as well, than a different kind of unrest. So, people who think that with Trump gone that you're not going to see rioting in the streets, I think that's part of the pipe dream, Nick. I really do. Anyway, we're going to see.
Yeah, and you know what else I want to mention, because I know we're out of time. But the one thing I wanted to mention was how I won't say peaceful, but calm it was in the states of the Valley. Did you hear of any violence? Did you hear of anybody, doing anything stupid? I didn't.
So far, not.
And yet everybody's talking about, yeah, well, now maybe that'll come should Trump lose, or Trump win, I mean, because I think the vast majority of Trump supporters are not the kind that are prone to violence. They're not going to throw themselves into the street the way we saw with the left when he won, but who knows? So it'll be a very interesting thing to see when that finally does play out. But I don't think they're not on the verge of civil war. They're not on the edge of this massive chasm that's going to tear the country apart.
Of course not. Of course not. All right, Nick. So we're just coming up to the top of the hour, which means it's break time. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the show live on Wednesday night, stay tuned. We will be back in a few minutes here on the Nick and Joe Show. And if you are listening to the podcast, well, you may have to wait until Monday, or you may just search it out and find it if you're not following the order that they're being posted in. But anyway, part 3 will be posted on Monday morning of this week's podcast, of this week's show. Okay, so, we will be back in a few minutes, as I said, here on the Nick and Joe Show on ThinkRadio.ca.